Hello, gem hunter. If you've ever been to a farm, a place in nature that you like to visit, or even your own backyard and thought, is there any way to find out if there are gems in the ground? Yes, it is possible to find out if there are gems on your land, and I'll show you how in this video. To give you an idea, 1 in 100 people can tell if an area has gems or not. In other words, you're about to gain access to privileged knowledge. Because in case you didn't know, there are certain types of rocks that hide real treasures in the form of precious stones. These gems are usually preserved in perfect condition inside these rocks and can bring you a fortune if you're lucky enough to find one. Yes, we're talking about thousands of dollars that could be waiting for you inside a rock. We're not saying it's easy to find these gems, but if you look in the right places, your chances of finding one are better than winning the lottery. That's because, unlike a winning lottery ticket, gems are scattered all over the world, just waiting to be discovered by keen eyes. But what are these gems that might be lurking in rocks? I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I used to love looking for stones with my dad. I had a beautiful collection of stones with gems of all kinds and colors, but at the time, I had no idea what they were. But you know the desire to find a precious stone one day. That's what motivated me to keep looking and adding to my collection. So time went by, I started studying and taking some courses, and after a few years I was able to find a yellow diamond the size of a grape. This find made me a few $1,000s, and like me, many people would like to know how to find gems in their respective regions. That's why I've decided to give you a step-by-step guide to finding your first gem in this video. So pay attention, because this video could change your life forever. The first thing you should do to find out if an area has gemstones is to look for the signs known as satellite minerals, rather than looking for the gemstones directly. For example, if you're looking for diamonds, you'll never start by looking for diamonds. Firstly, they're very rare gems and you'll fail miserably. And secondly, due to geological factors, there may not even be any diamonds in your region. Following this logic, you should look for more abundant minerals that form in the same region as diamonds. This is why these minerals are called satellite or indicator minerals. So the first thing you should do is collect samples of all the types of rocks and minerals you find in your area. Gather the rocks and take them to a well-lit place where you can analyze your samples at your leisure, using a magnifying glass if possible. Then compare the minerals you find with various pictures and videos of the rocks I'll show you in this video to identify these minerals. By doing this, you'll be able to know what kind of stone might exist in that region. Even if there are no diamonds in your area, there may be rubies, sapphires, or even opals. This kind of analysis is called prospecting, and it's the most important part of the process. This initial analysis is critical in determining if a region has the potential for a gemstone fortune. If the samples are very large or heavy, you can take photographs to make your life easier. Now let's start the second part, which is just as important as the first, which is the cleaning of the stones, because you will notice that some stones are difficult to identify when they are dirty with dirt or sand. In some cases, you can use muriatic acid to clean them. This product is easy to find and is usually sold as a cleaning product. But don't worry if you don't have any. A spray bottle of water is more than enough to do the job. After cleaning, the third step is to identify the minerals. But don't worry if you have trouble, as you don't have to identify all the minerals you find. If you're lucky, you may find gems right away, but that's not very common. The rocks you collect generally fall into 3 categories, and separating them by type will make identification much easier. The first category includes broken stones or fragments, which are commonly found in dirt areas or ravines. The second category includes what are called rolled stones, which have a rounded shape and natural polish, the result of years of wear and tear by nature, usually in rivers. Even if you didn't find the stone in a river, rounded stones suggest that they were transported by water currents millions of years ago, indicating the presence of ancient river formations in the area. Separate these stones as well, as they may contain valuable minerals. Most of these rounded stones are made up of quartz or quartzite, also known as pebbles. Quartz in particular is a very common mineral and comes in many color variations, from milky white to shades of pink, yellow, or even transparent like rock crystal. Quartz can in some cases hide gems inside, so it's worth analyzing it carefully. Quartz is also a good benchmark for comparing other stones, as its hardness and appearance are very characteristic. Finally, there are the ores. These can be more difficult to identify as they tend to be very similar, usually dark in color, metallic in appearance, and heavy. Many of these ores have industrial value and are used in a variety of processes, but it's important to separate them out to make them easier to analyze later. Now, for the most interesting part, identifying the stones themselves. If you are new to this world and don't recognize many types of stones, no problem. Identification can take some time, and like any learning process, this is perfectly normal. However, if you want to know more quickly and accurately whether there are gemstones in your area, this journey of analysis and research is well worth it. A very useful tip is to use the Rock Identifier app available on the Play Store and Apple Store. I'll leave the name on the screen and in the description. This is a paid app, but if I'm not mistaken, it offers a free trial period of between 3 and 7 days. All you have to do is take a good quality photo of the stone you want to identify. Although the app isn't perfect, it does a great job for most stones and minerals, giving quick and accurate results in most cases. If the app isn't enough, you can supplement your search with photos and videos on Google. This helps a lot, especially if you're comparing the stone you found to examples available online. The internet offers a vast amount of information and images that can make identification easier and help you distinguish between similar minerals. So between taking good photos, using the app, and looking for more information and examples online, you'll be well prepared to identify most of the stones you find. Now let's move on to step 4, where I'll talk about some of the minerals that are most associated with the presence of gemstones. This will help you better recognize the signs that you may be about to find something valuable. But remember, this video is an abbreviated guide. To cover all the details of mineral and gemstone identification would take much more time, maybe even more than an hour. Eventually, I'll make a longer video like this that goes into more detail. But for now, to save you time, let's get down to the basics. Micas and malachite, promising signs. One of the first minerals to look for is mica. It is easily recognized by its thin, shiny plates that look like plastic. Mica is reflective, often with a slight metallic sheen, and can vary in size. Some are so small that they blend in with the soil and even look like dust, which can confuse some people who sometimes think they found gold. Depending on its color, mica can be transparent, golden, silver, or even greenish, and each color has a specific name. For a beginner, however, it is important to know that the presence of mica, especially in larger slabs, is a good sign. In particular, golden or greenish mica is an indication that the area may contain diamonds, one of the most sought-after gems in the world. So if you've found mica while exploring an area, it should make you more alert. Another important mineral is malachite, a darker and thicker variety of mica. Its presence also indicates that the environment may be conducive to finding gems. Granite and pegmatite, rocks of opportunity. Another set of minerals and rocks to look for are granite and pegmatite. As a common rock, granite is easy to identify. It is made up of grains that are visible to the naked eye and has a very granular texture. Pegmatite, on the other hand, is very similar to granite, but the difference is in the size of the grains. While granite has smaller grains, pegmatite can have crystals of considerable size, up to 3 centimeters in diameter. These larger crystals can be an excellent indication that the region is rich in valuable minerals. Pegmatite usually occurs in large rock formations, such as walls. If you notice pegmatites in the area, keep an eye out for them, as they often contain valuable minerals. If you find pegmatite, check to see if mica is nearby. The combination of pegmatite and mica increases the chances of finding gemstones such as tourmaline, topaz, aquamarine, and even morganite. Shale, a fragile and promising mineral. Another important mineral that may be present in these formations is shale. It is easy to identify because it has a flaky texture and crumbles easily in the hands. Slate has a grayish or metallic color, and its fragility is one of its most striking characteristics. If you find shale along with granite, pegmatite, and mica, your chances of being in a gemstone-rich area increase significantly. These three minerals, mica, pegmatite, and schist, form a powerful trio. The presence of all three in the same area indicates that you are in an environment conducive to the formation of gems, such as tourmalines of various colors, aquamarines, garnets, topazes, and many other precious stones. Always keep an eye out for these signs, as they could be the key to finding rare and valuable minerals. Rolled stones, weight and density. Now that you've found rounded stones, such as river stones, or even stones taken directly from a riverbed, pay attention to their weight. Stones that are heavier than normal for their size are always something to look at more closely. This is because most of the rolled stones we find in rivers, or in areas where rivers once existed, are made of quartz or quartzite, fairly common minerals and generally of low value. In the middle of these quartz stones, however, precious gems such as rubies, sapphires, diamonds, garnets, and topazes can appear. And here's an important note. All of these gemstones are significantly heavier than quartz. This means that if you find a stone that seems denser than expected, it could be a gem hidden among the pebbles. Keep an eye on the density and weight of the stones you find, as this is one of the most important clues for identifying gemstones among more common materials. So any stone you find that is heavier than normal can indeed be a good indication that there is something valuable there. However, it is important to look for some more specific stones that have a characteristic appearance and can indicate the presence of more valuable minerals. Ilmenites, chromites, and other heavy minerals. A good example is ilmenite and chromite. These stones, which are derived from iron ore, generally have a dark color and a metallic appearance, as if they were pieces of graphite or even small fragments of metal. They are extremely heavy for their size, which makes them quite distinctive. Finding these stones may indicate that the area contains other minerals of high value. Because they are very dense and have a characteristic metallic luster, these stones can stand out from the others you find. Although they are not precious stones in themselves, their presence may be associated with environments where other valuable minerals, such as rubies, sapphires, and diamonds form. So if you find them, it's worth investigating the area further. Garnets, the red clues to gemstones. Another mineral that deserves a lot of attention is garnet. If you're exploring riverbeds, there's a good chance you'll come across garnets, which are rounded pebbles, usually red, reddish-brown, or almost black in color. They are more or less spherical in shape and can be quite valuable when found in considerable size and intense color. Besides being valuable in their own right, garnets are one of the best indicators that there is a high probability of finding diamonds, rubies, or sapphires in the area. But why does this happen? Well, garnets and other heavier gemstones tend to accumulate at certain points in rivers due to the action of the water. These accumulation points are known as density traps. Like garnets, diamonds, and other denser gemstones can also accumulate in the same areas. So if you find an abundance of garnets, keep an eye out. It could be the clue you need to explore further and discover hidden treasures. Explore and take the reverse path, identifying the signs of gems. The first thing you need to know is that the gems that have fascinated mankind for centuries have deep origins and are linked to intense geological processes. Many of these gems are formed in volcanic rocks known as igneous rocks. But how exactly do these rocks create such precious treasures? It all starts with the formation of igneous rocks, which are formed when magma, a mixture of molten rock and minerals from the Earth's mantle or crust, cools and solidifies. The mantle, which makes up 84% of the Earth's volume, contains minerals that, under extreme pressure and heat, form rare stones such as peridot and diamonds. When magma rises to the surface in volcanic eruptions, it carries with it minerals and substances that, over millions of years, become precious gems. Diamonds, for example, are one of these precious stones. They are formed at extreme depths, where the temperature and pressure are so intense that diamond crystals form in the Earth's mantle. These diamonds are brought to the surface by a type of igneous rock that I'm sure you've heard of called kimberlite. But in case you don't know or have never heard of it, Kimberlite is a rock formed from materials from deep within the earth. When the magma that forms kimberlite rises to the surface, it brings with it diamonds that are trapped in its rocky matrix. Although not all kimberlite contains diamonds, this rock is one of the main sources for the extraction of these gems. Over time, erosion and other geological processes expose these kimberlites, making the search for diamonds easier. Another igneous rock that contains precious gems is pegmatite. With their texture of large grains, pegmatites are rich in minerals. Many precious stones such as emeralds, tourmalines, and aquamarines are found in pegmatites. Aquamarine, in particular, is often extracted from pegmatite veins, and its vivid blue color makes it one of the most sought-after gems. These pegmatites can cover large areas and are formed in very specific geological conditions where the magma cools more slowly. During this process, the crystals organize themselves differently, creating formations that can contain precious gems. In addition to kimberlite and pegmatite, the third type of igneous rock important in gemstone formation is rhyolite. This lesser-known rock has a light color and fine texture. Rhyolite can contain minerals such as zircon, apatite, and rutile. Zircon, for example, is one of the oldest minerals on Earth and is valued not only for its beauty, but also for its scientific importance. It is used to study the conditions of the Earth in its early stages and is one of the main materials used in geological dating. According to more detailed geological studies, rhyolite is formed when magma cools rapidly at the surface, and these more specific conditions can also produce volcanic glass, popularly known as obsidian. The interesting thing about this glass is how useful it is for both decorative purposes and archaeological studies, as it is formed at the sites of ancient volcanic eruptions. But unlike rhyolite, our fourth favorite, commonly known as basalt, is one of the most common igneous rocks in the Earth's crust and is also a source of valuable minerals. Although not as well known as kimberlite or pegmatite, basalt contains valuable minerals such as olivine. The gemological version of olivine is known as peridotite. Garnets and zircons can also be found in basalt formations. And just like diamonds and the other gems mentioned above, these minerals are released when the basalt is exposed to erosion and other geological processes. Basalt formations are particularly common in areas of intense volcanic activity, such as Hawaii. Basalt can also contain cavities containing crystals, which are formed when gas bubbles become trapped in the cooling rock. Over time, these cavities can be filled with crystals that develop slowly. Garnet, one of the gems found in these cavities, is a mineral that is used in both jewelry and industry due to its unique properties of durability, translucency, and hardness. Basalt can also contain corundum crystals, which form the basis of gemstones such as ruby and sapphire. When corundum is found in basalts, the resulting gems can have vibrant colors and unique characteristics that make them highly sought after and valued in the gemstone market. In places like Brazil, where vast areas of pegmatite and kimberlite are still being explored, we find some of the most beautiful and pure emeralds in the world. States such as Minas Gerais and Bahia are famous for their pegmatite formations, which produce not only emeralds but also tourmalines, aquamarines, and topazes. Take a look at this specimen from a Brazilian mine. The formation of these gems requires very specific conditions of pressure and temperature, which are created during the slow cooling of the magma in these igneous rocks. In addition to Brazil, other countries around the world have areas rich in igneous rocks, such as the lava fields of Hawaii and the volcanic regions of Australia. Each of these areas is the perfect environment for the formation of rare and valuable gemstones and is explored by geologists and miners in search of precious stones. Now we come to sedimentary rocks, which, although formed differently to igneous rocks, can also contain precious stones and other valuable minerals. However, in order for a sedimentary rock to form, pre-existing rocks must undergo the process of weathering, which can be physical, chemical, or biological. This process breaks up the rocks, creating sediments that are transported by water, wind, or ice, and eventually deposited in low-lying areas. Over time, the sediments are compacted and cemented to form new rocks. A good example of a sedimentary rock is shale. Slate is a rock that, although not igneous, is also formed under conditions of high pressure and temperature. Although these conditions are more typical of the environment in which metamorphic rocks are formed, shale can contain precious crystals such as tourmaline, emerald, rutile, pyrite, and titanite. Its dark gray or silver color with a metallic sheen highlights these mineral inclusions. However, because it is a fragile rock and is found at great depths, shale mining requires more advanced techniques to extract the gems safely. In addition to gemstones found directly in sedimentary rocks, such as the shale minerals mentioned above, many gemstones can also be found in secondary sedimentary environments, such as riverbeds, commonly known as alluvial deposits. But how is this possible? Well, it's because over millions of years, gemstones originally formed in igneous rocks, such as diamonds, sapphires, and garnets, may have been released from volcanic matrix rocks by erosion over thousands of years. Water is the main erosive factor as it plays a fundamental role in moving these sediments. The force of the water over the years ends up breaking down many igneous rocks, releasing the gemstones and transporting them to deposits in rivers and other aquatic environments where they can be collected. This phenomenon explains why many of the most valuable gemstones are found outside their volcanic origins, sometimes thousands of miles away, deposited on the banks of many rivers around the world and even on beaches. The transport of gems by rivers and the continual erosion of the parent rock results in the formation of alluvial deposits where prospectors can find diamonds, sapphires, and the other minerals mentioned at the beginning of the video. Although the original formation of the stones takes place at depth and under extreme pressure, time and natural processes cause them to be redistributed on the surface. That's why even in areas where there are no active volcanoes or visible igneous formations, it is still possible to discover precious stones in rivers or sedimentary layers. The combination of sedimentary rocks and erosive processes creates a continuous cycle that spreads precious gems across the planet, transforming landscapes and creating new high-value deposits. So if you're interested in taking up this therapeutic hobby that connects you with nature and has the potential to become a new source of income, I encourage you to start now. It could be your lucky day, and I'm sure that if you pay attention to the signs around you, finding a gemstone is only a matter of time. But if you still have doubts about the gems you find out there, if you're having trouble identifying minerals, don't worry. There's a simple trick that can make the process easier. Instead of trying to identify every mineral you find in the area, you can do it the other way around. Take a gemstone you want to find, say tourmaline, and find out what minerals indicate that the area has tourmaline. You can then compare these signs with what you find there. This makes identification much easier and more accurate. This method can be applied to a number of gemstones, such as aquamarines, diamonds, emeralds, and many others. Find out what minerals are commonly associated with these gems and see if the minerals you've collected match these clues. Over time, this will help you better assess the potential of an area. Now, if you really want to dive deep into the world of gemology, I have great news. I've already made detailed videos on how to find most gemstones and what clues to look for. Each type of gemstone has its own characteristics that can be identified in nature, and these videos are a great way to learn how to identify them in a practical way. And for those who prefer to have all this knowledge organized and at their fingertips, I recommend our ebook, Gemology for Beginners, which you can access by clicking on the first link in the description of this video. In it, you'll find a complete dictionary of minerals, with detailed descriptions of their characteristics, allowing you to learn to identify not only precious stones, but semi-precious ones as well. This material is ideal for those who are just starting out and want to better understand what to look for when exploring. As I mentioned earlier, nature holds many secrets when it comes to gemstones. Rubies and diamonds, for example, are often found in places where few people would expect to find them. Understanding how these stones are formed and where they tend to accumulate can take time, but with patience and dedication, you can become much more efficient in your search. Remember that the process I've explained so far is just the beginning of a larger journey. Each gem will have its own clues and signs, and each area of exploration will have its own peculiarities. That's why it's important to study, to dedicate yourself, and to always be ready to learn something new. Nature is generous, but it also guards its treasures well. With practice and attention to detail, you could be one step closer to finding something incredible. There are many more secrets about gemstones found in nature, including rubies and diamonds, that wouldn't fit into one video. So watch the video that's playing on your screen right now to learn more about these magnificent minerals that could make you filthy rich. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Good luck, Gem Hunter.